Welcome back to God's Plan, chosen for such a time as now. We are now in session 8, and session 8 is titled Counter Edict, and we will be talking about passions and visions in this particular section. So hopefully you have listened to the presentation on Esther chapter 8, and you filled in those video notes and all of that in your book. What we see in chapter 8 is that evil has been dealt with. God has taken care of Haman. He's no longer part of the story. But what we also see is that the consequences of what Haman did is still there. And that is how it is with our life, is often there's something bad that has happened either because we helped orchestrate it or somebody that we had no influence over caused it. But whatever that thing that happened in our life was bad, it may be over with, but there are still consequences to move forward. And a lot of times we can get discouraged trying to move forward because we don't know what good can come of that. But what we can do is take a lesson from Esther. So we are in the section for the video tutorial for God's Plan. And if you will look in the book on page 142, you will see one of the ways that Esther could possibly move forward, and it's a way that we can too. What Esther had was the stories of other people who could inspire her, people from her past, people who were her contemporaries. You know, last week you worked on your story, right? And I hope you had a good time with that. I hope you learned something from it. I hope that it encouraged you to see that God can work in your life. Well, maybe you saw how his hand was moving, or as you wrote that story, you have asked God to show you how he was moving. But what you can do with that story is you can take that story and now encourage someone else who finds himself in a similar situation. Well, I'm sure that's what Esther was looking for, is people that could help her, and she would have found that with people who had passions and a vision. So on these particular pages in the book for God's Plan, you will see a list of who Esther might have looked back in time to help give her a passion, like Moses or David or Elijah. Possibly Esther was looking at some more contemporaries, Daniel or Ezra or Nehemiah, some of those stories. We can look back on those stories. What we have is something that Esther didn't have. We have New Testament people that we can look back on, like Mary Magdalene or Paul. We even have people from more our contemporaries that we can look at. We can look back at someone a little bit further back. An example comes to mind of Billy Graham. We also have women encouragers that just speak their story and have a passion to share how God has worked in their life. So we can use all of those stories to help us as we try to move forward. One of the verses that is one of my favorites that I want to share with you is found in Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16. It says, "So let us come boldly to the throne of our gracious God. There we will receive his mercy, and we will find grace to help us when we need it most." When we are really trying to move forward is when we most need God to help us take those steps forward, to help us figure out what our passion is, figure out what our vision is, and so that we can fulfill his purpose in our life and do it in a confident manner. So go ahead and on pages 142 and 143, fill in those blanks, read those stories of past people who can really light a fire in us if we look at their stories, and then come back and we'll do the next tutorial on self-reflection. All right, see ya.